I am so intrigued with this saga where Elon Musk is negotiating for the purchase of Twitter. Elon Musk has done a lot of amazing things, and he reminds me of another American who was also an inventor, who also focused a lot on electricity, an American who felt that free speech was an important value of this country. You and I both know him as Benjamin Franklin. In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 comparisons of Elon Musk to Benjamin Franklin that has helped them become so influential. My name is Shiloh Lundahl, and I am a real estate investor and entrepreneur. And this channel is all about real estate investing, but I couldn't help but want to make this video about Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin because I have learned a ton by watching their lives and following those same models in order to help me become successful at real estate investing. I hope you enjoy this video. I've heard that 9 out of 10 businesses fail within the first 5 years. Yet there are other entrepreneurs that seem to have multiple businesses that are successful, or that are successful in multiple areas of their lives. And I think that Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin are some great examples of being successful in multiple businesses or multiple areas of life. So let's get started with the top 10 similarities that I see between Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin. Number 1, they were both geniuses at a very young age. Elon Musk says that when he was a kid, he noticed that he was different from the other kids around him. You see, Elon Musk had multiple ideas coming in and out of his head all of the time, whereas the other kids, they didn't seem to have all of these ideas flooding their mind all the time.
Elon was a very skilled learner, easily understanding programming and complex reading. He read Isaac Asimov's Foundation as a child, and even created his own video game at age 10, selling it for $500 at today's value. He had developed the video game using the Commodore VIC-20, and by age 12, he had taught himself computer programming.
Well, what about Benjamin Franklin? You see, Benjamin Franklin really only went through the 6th grade. So how in the world is it that he is a genius? Well, Benjamin Franklin's story is really amazing. In fact, I watched a 3-hour documentary on PBS that's been published on YouTube, and I would encourage anybody who is a fan of Benjamin Franklin to go and watch that special. And I've included a link to it in the show notes below. Anyway, when Benjamin Franklin finished grade school, his father didn't really think that he was ready to go to any of the either high schools or colleges around because of his personality. You see, he didn't really fit the mold that the colleges back then were looking at. And so, rather than trying to put him into further education, he said, why don't you just go and, connect with your older brother and start working with him at his print shop? So at about age 12, Benjamin Franklin started working at a print shop. And so he would put all of the letters and the lines in order to help create and print a newspaper that they were printing at the time. And he worked there for several years. Now, some of the things that he did there was he would get a lot of information coming from England and other places, and so he had an opportunity to read that information first before they would go and create the magazine. And so he would just consume it and consume it and consume it. You see, there's a difference between somebody that goes to school to learn and a learner that it doesn't matter if they're in school or any other location, they're going to learn no matter what. And Benjamin Franklin was a learner like that. And a funny little story is when Benjamin Franklin was like 15 and 16 years old, he used to write letters that would be published in that newspaper. And he wrote it under this false identity of a middle-aged widow that was living out in the country. So to me, that's just incredible that this 15 or 16-year-old could pull it off to where he could write as if he were a middle-aged woman living out in the country. And people just loved to read those columns that he published there. But then his older brother found out that he was the one writing those, and he became upset with him. And you know what his older brother did? Rather than praising him and thinking that he was great, I think his older brother got just a little jealous, got upset, and then would start beating Benjamin Franklin. And this leads to the second similarity that I see in Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk. They both had family conflict. Now, all of us have family conflict, but hopefully you weren't beaten by your parents or you weren't beaten by an older sibling. You see, Benjamin Franklin was beat by his older brother while he was working for him in his print shop. And Elon Musk reports that his father was very harsh in his discipline, to the point of very physically harsh and harmful. And so what I understand from that is it sounds like his father was physically abusive to him when he was growing up. And so this leads to the third similarity. Both Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin left their countries of origin at age 17. Benjamin Franklin left the colonies in the United States where he was born and went over to England and spent several years in England learning and connecting and networking and just having a fantastic time. And Elon Musk, when he was 17, left South Africa and came to Canada, which was the birthplace of his mother, and he was able to live there and enroll in school. The fourth similarity of Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin is that both of them had three distinct periods of their lives. You see, Benjamin Franklin first worked at a print shop, and he learned the business and how to run the whole thing. Later on, he then ran his own print shop. And then what he did was he franchised these print shops all up and down the east coast of the United States. Of course, before it was called the United States. With franchising all of these print shops, he started getting royalties from all of these little printers all up and down the coast. He also, at that point, started to invest in real estate.
Franklin uses the profits from his successful publishing ventures to acquire real estate and set up partnerships with print shops all through the colonies. By the time he's 35, this once penniless printer's apprentice has become one of the wealthiest men in Philadelphia.
God helps them who help themselves.
Everyone associates Franklin with getting rich. That for Franklin, getting rich is an end in itself. Nothing could be further from the truth.
To be really successful in a Franklinian sense, if you read what he writes very carefully, is not to be wealthy and to be conspicuously wealthy, to live in a big house, to eat off good china, to wear fancy clothes, that the sign of success was in your capacity to give back to the community. And that it was in serving that one achieved felicity.
So he had some rentals and he had all of these franchised print shops all up and down the coast. And so by the time he was about 40 or 41 or 42, he was independently wealthy and he had become one of the wealthiest people in Pennsylvania. Similarly, Elon Musk went to college, and after he graduated college, he then went to enroll in the PhD program at Stanford, which you have to be pretty smart in order to do that. But truthfully, he only lasted 2 days. Why is that? Why do you think he would only last 2 days at Stanford? Well, it wasn't because he wasn't smart enough. You see, at that time, he realized that the internet was just beginning, and it was beginning to get some momentum. And he thought, well, I could either go to Stanford and I could read about what's happening, or I could become a part of it. So Elon Musk dropped out of Stanford, and with his brother, they created a small internet company called Zip2. It's so funny because Elon talks about, he had an office, but he wasn't able to really own an office and a home or rent both of them at the same time. And so basically he just opted to keep the office and sleep at the office and work at the office. And he was a workhorse. And so he worked with his brother. And then after a few years, they took that company Zip2 and they sold it for $305 million. Now, of course, not all of that went to his brother and him. In fact, I think Elon Musk got about $22 million from that sale. And another little funny thing about that was that Elon Musk took $1 million of that and he bought a McLaren. Now this was back in the early 2000s, but he bought $1 million car. And then what's funny is within a very short period of time, he actually totaled the car.
I heard right after you sold PayPal, before the other two companies, you went and bought a McLaren S1 because
F1, yes.
F1.
Right.
Sorry.
There it is, gentlemen, the fastest car in the world.
And so we're driving up St. Helens Road. I didn't really know how to drive the McLaren. And Peter says, so what can this do? And then I'm probably number one on the list of famous last words. I said, watch this. I remember seeing the cars coming towards me while I was going backwards. And then we hit an embankment, sort of a 45-degree embankment on Sand Hill, which tossed the car into the air like a discus. And it kept rotating with about 3 foot of air clearance, according to witnesses. And then slammed down on the ground, going the original direction. And we blew the suspension out, now, it didn't actually wreck the car. The core chassis and the engine were okay.
Thank God.
But all the glass and the wheels and everything was shredded, and there was massive body damage in the front and rear. And then Peter hitched a ride to Mike. I waited while the fire truck and the ambulance arrived. And then finally
Did Peter Thiel literally hitch a ride?
Over to Sequoia and then once the car was taken care of, then I hitched a ride too, and we continued the meeting.
So what did Elon Musk do with his $22 million? Well, besides buying that McLaren, he also started another internet company. Now, this internet company is a company that you know really well. Elon Musk decided that he was going to solve a problem. And one of the problems was that it was very difficult to exchange money online. And so Elon Musk figured out a way to create this money exchange online. And the company that he created was called PayPal. That's right, that major money exchanging company early on in the internet. So Elon Musk worked really hard at creating that company and building it, and then eventually they sold that company to eBay for $1.5 billion. So now let's go back to Benjamin Franklin for a moment. So Benjamin Franklin went and he franchised the printing press, and he got some rentals, and with all of that, he started to accumulate wealth. And so he went from business owner and operator to inventor. And as you and I know, that whole story about the key and the kite, you see, it was really, really interesting finding out more about that whole story. See, Benjamin Franklin wanted to understand what these, what it meant to like shock somebody. What is that? What is that electricity that's going back and forth? And so he would see that. And so he did all of these experiments trying to figure out what that was. And one of the experiments that he did is he created this machine that would kind of generate electricity, and people would hold hands, and then one person would touch it, and then that shock would go through everybody's hand. It was pretty amazing. But then he also took a look outside and he noticed these big lightning bolts, and he thought, I wonder if it's the same thing. I wonder if the lightning we see outside and the shock between two people, I wonder if that's the same electrical energy. And so that's where the whole kite key experiment came from. And he had a ring and he had the key, and he was trying to see if that kite would generate some electricity coming down the string and then get to the key, and if it would shock his ring. And he found out, yes, that is the same type of electrical charge. And so he's the one that started to talk about, positive and negative charges and things like that. It's really, really amazing understanding all of the things that he studied in order to learn about electricity. But you know what's even more amazing than that? Benjamin Franklin looked at what he was doing and he asked, how could this benefit the world? You see, back in the day of Benjamin Franklin, they had a big problem. The problem was whenever lightning would strike a house, it would either, kind of explode the house or catch the house on fire. And then people would try to, put water on the other houses, but they just thought that, it's an act of God to strike down this house. And so that's how it is. Now, Benjamin Franklin thought, well, if you can create a roof in order to protect you from hail, why not us create something that would protect us from lightning? And so he created what's known as the lightning rod, that if you were to connect this rod that would attract the lightning to the rod, and then it would go down the rod and it would put it into the ground, then you could actually save your house from being destroyed. So that was one of Benjamin Franklin's most influential and greatest inventions that he ever made. And you know what he did with this invention? He decided that he was not going to patent it. He was going to give it to the entire world. So Benjamin Franklin did not make money off of the lightning rod. Instead, he gave this gift to the entire world.
It has pleased God in his goodness to mankind to finally show them a way of protecting their buildings from the mischief of thunder and lightning. Take a small iron rod with one end buried 3 feet.
In his almanac of 1753, Franklin reveals the details of his invention. A rod of iron placed on the roof of a building can safely discharge a bolt of lightning down a wire connected into the ground. He doesn't patent the lightning rod. It will be his gift to the world.
The ordinary lightning rod, the Franklin rod, is still the basis of the lightning protection code in every single country in the world. It's still today the best way to protect an ordinary house or a structure from lightning damage.
Who else does that sound like? I wonder if there's anybody else that has created things, invented things, and then taken those inventions and that information about those inventions and given it to the entire world. That's right, Elon Musk.
Your patents are open source?
Yeah. So if somebody comes and makes a better electric car than Tesla, and it's so much better than ours that we can't sell our cars and we go bankrupt, I still think that's a good thing for the world.
Because the overarching goal of Tesla is to accelerate the advent of sustainable energy. And so if we created a patent portfolio that discouraged other companies from making electric cars, that would be inconsistent with our mission. So we open sourced all the patents, okay, in order to help anyone else who wants to make an electric car.
So both Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk were inventors, and specifically, they invented things around energy. Well, what about that third phase of their life? So after Benjamin Franklin became a businessman and became a very wealthy and successful businessman, and then he moved into becoming an inventor, later on, he shifted into politics. That's right, as you and I know, he was one of the most important figures in the development of the United States of America. And he was one of the only people that signed the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. Well, what about Elon Musk? Elon Musk is not like a politician or anything. No, he may not be a politician, but this is where the whole negotiation for Twitter comes in. You see, Elon Musk is a strong believer of free speech. You see, when you limit certain speech, you can start to control a narrative. You can start to influence people to believe something one way. And when you do that, you inhibit innovation. You inhibit people's growth. And so Elon Musk wants there to be freedom of speech, where people can have discussions, where they can come together and have disagreements and have that be okay.
This is not a way to sort of make money, I think it's just that I think my strong intuitive sense is that having a public platform that is maximally trusted and broadly inclusive is extremely important to the future of civilization.
But you've described yourself.
I don't care about the economics at all.
You see, Elon Musk has been called many things through social media. And he thinks that if you can have a platform where people you don't like say things you don't like, then it is a platform of free speech. And so that is one of the reasons that he is stating that he is working towards purchasing Twitter, which is very similar to Benjamin Franklin, who also believed strongly in free speech.
Franklin would relish the communication and digital revolution we're going through today. And I'm sure he would have been one of the first people in America to have created a website and then also probably created an online service so he could make money off of the website, because he loved the idea of spreading information, thoughts, discourse.
So the fifth similarity of Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk is that they were or are both visionaries. Benjamin Franklin was able to envision how this country was going to be, and he helped form it. He saw that it was going to be a superpower amongst the world. And Elon Musk has been visionary in his own right with the development of SpaceX, which is the privatization of space travel. I mean, imagine that 10 or 20 years ago, thinking there's going to be a guy that's going to come and he's going to look up at space and he's going to think, I think I'm going to build a rocket. Not just a small rocket. I think I'm going to fund a company that's going to build many rockets. And I think I'm going to do it better than the government, less expensive than the government. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and privatize space travel. That is incredible. And that is very visionary. Not to mention all of the other things that he's done with like Tesla solar roofs, one of which we're going to be putting on our own home. So I'm excited to see how that goes. And as many of you know, obviously the Tesla electric vehicles that aren't just a little cool, but are really awesome. He was able to figure out ways in order to create batteries that were not only going to be able to last a long time, but that could create enough energy and power that could propel cars faster than almost any other vehicle on the road. That is incredible. Number 6, Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin are both, or were both, goal-oriented. What was so interesting in learning about Benjamin Franklin was all of the steps that he took. He was an avid chess player, and he took all of these steps, and all of the relationships that he built were strategic in order to gain favor with the country of France, which then helped us win the war against England. In fact, I think that if Benjamin Franklin didn't go to France and live there for several years and gain their favor, that the war with England would have gone very, very differently. And I think that we may have very well lost that war. So because of Benjamin Franklin, I believe we were able to gain our independence from England. Elon Musk has been very goal-driven through each of the companies that he's formed. You see, he realizes that he can't create these massive companies and run them on his own. So he needs to network with a lot of people, just like Benjamin Franklin did with France. Elon Musk has connected and networked with very smart and capable people in order to help run his several companies. And as he was creating the companies, he obviously set many, many goals. Now, Elon Musk has stated in interviews that he'll give a deadline of what he's trying to work towards, and he may miss that deadline. But he puts that deadline there because it focuses his effort on what he wants to accomplish within a specific time frame where he's working towards accomplishing that specific thing. So number 7. Now, I've already talked about this, that both Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk were enamored with electricity or with energy, trying to figure out how can we take this energy that's around us and create it and form it into a very usable, helpful thing that would help individuals be able to better their lives. Benjamin Franklin did it with the lightning rod, and Elon Musk has done it with these amazing batteries that he puts into his vehicles, and with creating solar tiles for Tesla roofs, and with being able to create rockets that go up in space. And number 8, as I mentioned before, both Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk, after they created these world-altering technologies, they then gave it to the world for free.
Sounds good to me.
No, I'm not saying that Elon Musk gives his cars away for free, but I am saying that he gave the technology away for free. Now, this is where it gets a little bit political. So one thing that's really interesting for me is that Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk both fight for the middle class. You see, they aren't elites, even though Benjamin Franklin was very wealthy at the time and Elon Musk has become the world's wealthiest man. They aren't elitists. So elitism isn't the amount of money that one person has. It's the mindset that one person has. It's, I'm better, I think better, I should make the rules because I'm smarter than other people. And because I'm smarter than other people, I should make the rules. Other people should just do the things that I think they should do. That's elitism. It's, my ideas are better than yours, and so I'm going to decide what people are going to do. You see, Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin were not about that. They wanted, and Elon Musk wants, Americans to have good standards of living. They want them to be able to enjoy themselves and enjoy the freedoms that this great nation of America has to offer. They don't like the regulations that are put on that inhibit and limit people from being able to be successful. And what's so funny is that both Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk, they annoy the elites. And you hear this a lot, and this goes to the last and final one that I'm going to mention, number 10. Elon Musk and Benjamin Franklin both have and had a lot of critics in their day. Benjamin Franklin had many critics, but one thing that's interesting is you don't really hear about him. And why is that? Well, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that his life was so amazing that people just started to ignore the criticisms. And I think that Elon Musk is very similar to that. Like, for instance, that one politician, Elizabeth, what's her name again? I don't know. And you know what's funny? I don't think anybody else will in 5 to 10 years. They're going to think a lot more about Elon Musk and never really even consider her again. So what's interesting is when you get to such a level where you are doing incredible things, there's always going to be critics. But the key is to keep moving forward. The critics will eventually die down, and as you have lived up to your full potential in life, you will be remembered. It may not be by millions like Benjamin Franklin and Elon Musk, but it will be remembered by those who knew you, by your family, by your friends. So I encourage you to live to your very full potential. Research some of these amazing people and ask yourself, what did they do? How did they become so amazing? And what can I do in my life to live up to my full potential and become amazing in my life too? Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel. I give a lot of great content, especially around real estate investing. And so if you want to improve your lives, if you want to improve your financial well-being, then go ahead and subscribe and check out my other videos. Thanks so much for watching again, and I hope that you have a fantastic day.